Greetings, YouTube. Sorry it's taken me so long to get around to talking about the Kurds. The shit Gibbon does provide a lot of content now, doesn't he? It's a great distraction method in his part to keep us thinking about all of his atrocities, and it keeps us from talking about his crimes and misdemeanors. Um, but the Kurds have been our allies for a really long time, and contrary to what the president himself says, they were our allies during World War II. What a shock that he got something wrong and or lied about it and or both. Um, so, yeah, I know, odd and strange that he would do something like that, especially about brown people. Um, so they've been our allies for a really long time. And recently they have been some of our most staunch supporters and some of our best allied fighters. And so our response to treating, to having, such solid allies is to throw them under the bus and abandon them to a horrible fate at the hands of Turkey. So, yeah, that's horrible and should be in and of itself probably be considered some kind of a war crime for throwing one's allies under the bus like that. But that's what the shit gibbon does. He does anything he can to keep people not thinking about the fact that he is a criminal and deserves to spend the rest of his life rotting in a cell. In the process, is willing to destroy America and the world at large, and in particular the Kurds, just wiping them off the map. Or in this case, driving them into the arms of the Syrians and the Russians, who are both horrible people. As far as their governments are concerned, and and so let's take an ally and get them killed, and then the survivors to sign up with people that we are at war with, both directly and indirectly. Yeah, it's a lose lose lose. So it's right up the shit Gibbons alley. Just the sort of thing he's so good at. Um, you could hand him a stack of $100 bills, and in about 3 hours he'd have nothing left. He'd have lost it all. He's like an absolute greenhorn gambler walking into a casino for the first time. By the time you park the car, he's already gone bust. Um, and remember, he did in fact drive at least, was it 2 casinos? Yeah, I think it was 2 casinos into bankruptcy. So, yeah, great businessman as well as as someone with a keen eye towards foreign policy. If someone were to present me with our current reality as a storyline for a film or a comic or a novel, I would laugh at them because it would be so absurd. But reality isn't constrained by that. Reality is what we've got. And at the minute, we've got a reality where the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military force in the history of the world just decides that he doesn't need allies any longer. So he's willing to just sit back and watch them die. And then claim victory of some variety. Now, I'm actually not opposed to the idea of getting us out of conflicts. But when you want to do that, you go to the military leaders in the United States and say, hey, I want to get out of this conflict. Come up with a plan. We're in a 6-month withdrawal. You've got 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, they present you a plan that shows this is how we're going to withdraw over 6 months so that we save lives and we preserve our allies' connections and we don't make ourselves look like both crappy allies and international fools. But instead, he just decides, we're just going to leave, and leaves, and then lies about where the troops are going multiple times. I mean, I'd apologize for the deaths in amongst the Kurds, but was there any way to avoid it? Americans put a madman in the White House. They put a white nationalist into the Oval Office and were surprised when he throws away the lives of brown people. Or not surprised. I mean, to a certain segment of Americans, the deaths of the Kurds is a feature on a bug. It isn't considered collateral damage. It's what they wanted. For them, one less brown person in the world is a net benefit, because they are so desperate to preserve the power of white people. Demographically, politically, economically, socially, doesn't matter. They'll do anything within their power, including voting for a white nationalist, to make sure that white people preserve power just a little bit longer. In the process, we've now put ourselves into a position where who's going to ally with us again? Who's going to say, yeah, we'd like to hook up with you folks and to face off against international terrorism? Because now we've shown we're untrustworthy. We're unworthy. And there's not a damn thing that the average American voter can do about it. Because the white nationalists in America put a madman in the Oval Office. And we're stuck with them. Because the Democrats waited way too long to start impeachment proceedings. And I don't know if we're going to get them out of office before the elections. So, yeah. So anyone out there who's a Kurd, I'm sorry. I wish it had been otherwise. You deserve better. You deserve actual allies and not Americans. Because we're untrustworthy. We're unworthy. And we're an embarrassment to the world.